Okay. In previous class, we have studied this program relocation. Then after this topic, we have studied about literals, literal pool, and one assembler directive we have studied, that is LTORG, that is literal organization. Then literal tab data structure also we have studied. Okay. Now today we will study two more assembler directives. One is equate and second one is origin. Okay. So before going to that, I want to show you something. You just remember it because it is required in today's class. Okay. Okay. See, yesterday when I was telling you about this assembler directive LTORG, okay, this LTORG. So here I didn't mention it, but because it is required in today's class. What I wanted to tell you is, here in this program, what I am showing you on this screen, here location column is there, here addresses are there, right? So these are memory addresses or memory locations of these statements. So here, if you come and if you see here in line number 107, in line number 107, if you observe, the address is 1000 here. Okay. So its previous line in 106, it was 1036. Okay. 1036, and its previous one was 0036. And after 0036, directly it is increased by 1000 here. And how it is already you know, because the size of buffer is 4096 here. 4096, if you convert into hexadecimal, it will become 1000. Then you can add that 1000 to this 36, then it will become 1036. Next, what I wanted to tell you is, here in this line 106, here we are using one star here, right? So this star along with one assembler directive equate, and the label is buff end, that is buffer end. So what this statement does exactly? So this is just like your assignment statement or initialization statement of your C program. If you want to assign any value to any variable, you use one assignment statement there, right? So left side you will write one variable, right side of that assignment operator you will write its value. The right side RHS will be assigned to this LHS. Same thing, this equate assembler directive will do it. Okay. So here star is nothing but it is the address of next byte which is not assigned to any variable or operand or something. For example, here when you come to this line number 95, 0030 is there. Okay. So 0030, if your program is completed in line number 95 only, and you just imagine that nothing is there below this 0030, at that time what happens, this reserve word, okay, this reserve word return address is going to be stored in the address 0030. Okay. So after 0030, the next byte is 0031, 32, 33. Okay. These are unaddressed. They are not assigned to anybody. So here the next byte is nothing but here, that is 0033. So if you remember, if your program ends here only, and if you write 0033 here, because reserve word, it will reserve one word of memory. So one word is nothing but 3 bytes. 0030 plus 3, then it will become 0033. So if your program ends here only, then this 0033 is a byte which is not used or assigned to any of the statements like length, reserve word, one. Okay. I hope you are understanding. It means that if your program is ending here only, if the next byte will be the unaddressed or unassigned byte it is. So this star will always indicate that, this indicates that current value of location counter variable. Remember, this star indicates that it is a current value of location counter variable. I already discussed about location counter variable when I was discussing the data structures OP tab and SIM tab. So that location counter is nothing but in location column, whatever you will keep on writing, that value will be the current value whatever it is there, because every time whenever you assemble the instruction, you will add there +3 or +4 sometimes. Okay, so this whatever the value you will get after adding, that present value, that current value of that location counter variable is indicated by this star, and current value of that location is assigned to this variable here, buff end. And when you come to line number 107, here it is suddenly it became as 1,000. Instead of increasing, it is decreased here. Why? It means that it is not any memory address. Okay, it is not representing any address of any statement or any label or any instruction or any operand. So this 1,000 is nothing but it is a length of this buffer. So because of that only, here if you subtract this 0036 from 1036 here, because of this expression what I have written here, buff end minus buffer, buff end length address is 1036 and buffer's address is 0036. When you subtract this one, you will get 1,000. What is that 1,000? That is a length of that buffer, that is maximum length of that buffer, that is indicated by 1,000 here. And this 1,000 is not any address, it is a length of or size of buffer. So because of that only in pencil I have written here, this is a number of bytes. Number of bytes it is indicating, it is not which particular byte. Okay, it is indicating total how many number of bytes are there, how many capacity is there for buffer, that is the size of a buffer. It is not address actually, remember, this is a length of buffer or size of buffer, it is not a address. So this point why I am telling here, it is required in today's class for us. So I told you, just remember it. Okay, so then we have studied one assembler directive LTORG. Then also we have studied about one data structure, that is lit tab, that is literal table. Okay, these all things we have studied. So today we will go to some interesting topic, that is symbol defining statements. So these symbol defining statements are nothing but, again we are going to discuss assembler directives. Two types of assembler directives, already some around 8 to 9 assembler directives. 8 to 9 assembler directives you have studied till now. Today we will see two more assembler directives. One is equate assembler directive, second one is origin assembler directive. See here, somewhat already I told you. So whenever we want to assign any value to any symbol, for example in your previous programs you have already seen, we are defining some symbols there. Defining the symbols means what? Here in label column you will write it, and also you will assign some address to that one. Okay, so for example if you consider your instruction STL return address, okay, STL return address RET ADR. So RET ADR you will keep on searching it in the label column, and its left side if you observe location column you will get its address. So we are assigning value to these symbols, that is nothing but defining the symbols. So when you define these symbols, that symbol will be inserted into the data structure sim tab, that is symbol table, and along with the value, because symbol table, operation table, these all tables, whatever literal table I am discussing, these all are structured as a hash tables. In hash table, always remember there will be key values pairs, key value, key value, key value, and here key will be the operand name or label name, and value will be the address assigned to that label. So similarly here, how to assign that value in our assembler directive, some special type of assembler directives are there. You can take these facilities also in your programs. So you can see here, this assembler directive will allow the programmer to define the symbol and specify the values. So for doing this one, it means defining the symbol is nothing but inserting the symbol into symbol table and also specifying its value. So for doing this one, we have one assembler directive for programmer. He can use that in his program. That assembler directive is equal, and its a syntax equate. Its general form or syntax is like this. First left side he will write a symbol and EQU capital assembler directive, and right side he will write the value, and this value will be assigned to this symbol. Simple, very simple, like your initialization or declaration statement in your C program. Okay, so here the statement defines the given symbol. Defining the symbol is nothing but, just now I told you, it is entering that symbol into this sim tab. okay, and also it is assigning a value to that a symbol, okay. So here, that whatever the value you are assigning here, this portion I am talking about, this portion, the value what we are assigning to that symbol, either that value will be a constant value, like a constant, like a character constant, or it may be hexadecimal constant, or it may be any other constant, like 3, 5, or some 4096 or something else. So this value may be constant, or else it may be any format of any instruction, sorry, any expression, okay. So what is this expression and how to write this expression, we will see in the next topic. So this value will be either constant, or else it will be a expression, okay. So now here there are two most important uses of this equate assembler directive. In that first one, here I have made a tick mark here. The first common use of this equate I am going to discuss now. The equate is most commonly used for improving the readability of our program. Sir, how to improve the readability of our program? It means that somewhere in your program you are going to see some numbers there, some numeric values, and you don't know exactly what that number is representing. Okay, so just now I told you 4096 is a length of buffer. Okay, so you don't know. If you simply write it 4096, you will not understand it until and unless I tell you, okay. So to make it clear what that 4096 is indicating, what it is, to make it clear, we will use this equate assembler directive, okay. For example, in your figure 2.5, in your figure 2.5 SIC program is there. In that program, so line number 133, if you go to line number 133, you will have one instruction like this, that is plus LDT hash 4096, okay. So this 4096, I don't know what it is. So I want to load this 4092 into this instruction, register T, which is general working register. Load the value 4096 into the register T. So here I don't know what it is exactly 4096. So to make it clear, I am using equate assembler directive here. Okay. So here what happens? I am telling that it is a maximum length of record or paragraph or a string what I am going to enter through my input device. It means I am going to read it from my input device. Okay. So it is a paragraph and size of paragraph, and I am calling it as a length of that record. Okay. So that length of record it is representing, but maximum length it is a maximum length. So because of that only I told you buffer size is also 4096 only. Buffer can hold only 4096 bytes. It means 4096 characters. 4096 characters is just like one paragraph or one lengthy string it is. So that string or paragraph I am calling it as a record. And sir, how can you tell that it is a maximum length only? So it can be minimum length also, no? So it may be minimum, it should have 4096 characters, and like that also it may be. But how exactly I should make it clear to for the programmer or for the assembler or some other programmer? Okay, so whoever is reading my program, they should be very much clear that what it is going to indicate. So because of that only, to make it clear, I'm going to use this equate assembler directive here. So to use this equate assembler directive, what I am going to do is, first I am going to use one label for it, that is a max length. So by looking into this one, anybody can understand, oh, it is a maximum length of something, some storage, some record or some paragraph or some string. Okay, like this they will understand. So here 4096, directly I am assigning that value to this symbol max length. Remember, in your program, first column is a label column, second column is a opcode column, third column is a operand column. First and third column always they will indicate a symbol, and I am talking about a symbol which is called as here label. Okay, so to this label or to this symbol, I am assigning a value. Just now I told you this value may be either constant or it may be any expression. So here in this case, this value is a constant here. And in next topic, we will see how this value can be expression, how exactly the expressions look like. Everything we will see in the next topic. Don't worry. Okay. Then after writing this line, then I can write this line, that is plus LDT hash max length. It means that it is going to assign the value of max length to this the register T. Okay, so like this you can use this equate assembler directive. So these all explanation only they have given here. Okay, so then one more common use of equate, once again I have made a tick mark here, that is the second use of equate is it is used to define mnemonic names for registers, because already in SIC and SICXC I discussed so many registers. Along with that I have given you the register numbers also. So those register columns, if you observe there in my table, so mnemonic names we will use for those registers. If it is accumulator register, we will use capital A. If it is indexed register, we will use capital X. If it is L, then it is a linkage register. These A, X, L, P, C, W, B, S, T, F, these all are mnemonic names what we have given to our registers. To define these mnemonic names of registers also, we can use this equate. Defining means, just now I told you already, defining is nothing but inserting the symbol into symbol table or a data structure, and also assign some value to these symbols. Similarly here also we are going to keep on inserting these all registers whatever we are coming across in our program. Then we are also assigning the values of those registers to those registers, and we are inserting those values also in our symbol table. For that also equate is useful. For example, AXL, okay, AXL, etc. So many registers are there. Instead of these AXL, some instructions in our program require directly the register numbers only. Instead of names, they want register numbers. So like for example, clear S, clear T, like that you have already seen. Okay, but some registers, some instructions are there. Those instructions will not require the name of a register. They want number of register. For example, such kind of instructions are RMO. Okay, so for such kind of instructions, we have to mention the number of registers directly like this. RMO01. Instead of writing it as RMO A comma X, they don't want a name, they want a number of those registers. So some situations are there, some instructions are there where we have to write some numbers of those registers, not names of registers. In such kind of situations, we have to assign the values of those registers or numbers of those registers to those registers by using this again equate assembler directive. A equate 0, X equate 1, L equate 2. So like this, we can assign the values or numbers to those registers. Okay, so these all explanation they have given here, same thing. Okay, so similarly, apart from this one, there are some general purpose registers are there, S and T. Okay, so S and T, based on our requirement, sometimes these registers are also used as base register, count register, or index register, like this. There are some registers are there, we will call them as base register, index register, or something, right? So here also, instead of mentioning their numbers, sometimes we have to just give some names to them exactly. For that also, for assigning some names to those registers also, we can use equate statement like this. Base equate R1. What it means? It means wherever you will look into R1 in your program or in your expression, that is nothing but it is indicating a base register. R2 is indicating a count register, that is a program count, PC count. Okay, then R3 is indicating a index register. Like this, we can use this equate statement, assembler directive, for such kind of uses. So I told you two uses of equate assembler directive. First one was to make the readability easy. Okay, okay, to make the readability easy, and also to define the mnemonic names for registers. These are the two most common uses of equate register. I explained you, very interesting topic. And the next assembler directive is origin, org value. It's common use. Once again I am going to tell you here with this tick mark, I am going to highlighted this word here. What is the common use of this org assembler directive? It is also used to assign the values to symbols, but not directly but indirectly. If you observe the syntax or its general form here, left side of this org I have not written any symbol here directly, just simply I have written value here. So it is going to assign the value to the symbol indirectly, not directly. Okay, so in equate, we have directly assigned the value, but here in org indirectly we are assigning the values to symbol. So how to assign indirectly, we will see now. Here location counter is going to play very important here, because location counter, just now I told you, it is going to deal with the memory location or addresses. It holds the current value of memory address. Okay, so here also in this instruction, or sorry, in this syntax, the value is going to represent once again either constant value or else it may be any expression. Remember, like our equate, here also value is representing either constant or else expression. Okay, so here if you change the value of location counter, so whenever you will keep on adding a +3 +3 +3 or +4, sometimes in rare cases, to your location column. Okay, suppose if you make a small mistake there, instead of adding 3 if you add 4, or instead of adding 4 if you add 3, then that address column, complete location column will be wrong. Okay, complete your entire location column will be wrong. It means the addresses whatever you are assigning to your statements or operands, everything will be wrong. Then definitely your program will not run properly. So remember, okay, so you should be very careful whenever you assign the addresses to statements, instructions, operands, or labels. So location counter is used to control the assignment of storage in the object program. In most cases, altering or changing its value would result in an incorrect assembly. It means your program will not be converted properly into the low level or machine level. Okay, assembly is nothing but conversion. Assembly will not be proper or correct. And sometimes this org, one more useful of org, what is the use of this org, I am telling you. This org is used to define the labels. Okay, it is used to define the labels, so it is useful in the label definition. It means that it is also symbol definition. It is used for symbol definition, or label definition is nothing but inserting the label or symbols into symbol table, and again we are going to insert their values also. Values are nothing but addresses of those symbols. Suppose if we want to construct our symbol table data structure in this structure or in this format, so this table is going to contain 3 columns here. It means it is going to store 3 informations. One is a symbol and a value, what we are assigning to that symbol, and also one more information is a flag. What this flag is going to indicate, this flag is going to indicate or specify the symbol type and other information. Okay, so sir, why we require this flag? It indicates symbol type and other informations. Remember, if this table is looking like this, and in this table we can make how many entries? 100 entries. It means each and every row, each row is called as one entry here, and we are going to call, or we are going to give a label to this symbol table as S tab. Okay, S tab, symbol table. And how many columns are there? 3 columns are there: symbol, value, and flags. The length of this symbol field is 6 bytes. The length of value field is 1 word. 1 word is equivalent to 3 bytes. And flag, the length of a flag field is 2 bytes. So if you add these all 3 lengths, so it will become 11 bytes. 6 plus 3 plus 2. 6 plus 3, 9. 9 plus 2, 11. Okay, so each entry will require 11 byte. And similarly, how many entries are there in this total table? There are 100 entries are there. 100 into 11, the total size of this table, symbol table, is 1100 bytes. Okay, 1100 bytes. So in this table, symbol field contains 6 bytes of user defined symbol. Okay, as its name itself is symbol, user defining some symbols or labels. It is going to store it in this column, and the value is going to hold the value we are going to assign to that symbol. So value is 1 word representation. It is because 1 word is equivalent to 3 bytes. 3 bytes is equivalent to 24 bits. So suppose if the value is integer value, integer usually in our SIC and SIC machines, we store them in the form of 24 binary bits. Okay, so value may be 1 word representation, and flag is a 2 byte. What it is going to specify is, it is going to tell us what type of symbol it is and other information. So what type of symbol means what it is. So type of symbols we will discuss in next topic when I come to expression topic. Okay, so don't worry. The next is, here we are going to reserve amount of memory for this table like this by using this statement. STAB is a label and RESB is one assembler directive which will reserve bytes. How many bytes it will reserve? It will reserve 100 and 100 and sorry 1100 bytes. 1100 bytes it will reserve for the label STAB, that is symbol table. Okay, then what we can do is here now we can define each and every symbol here. It means the informations like this symbol equate st tab. So s tab is nothing but it is going to store the starting address of our table, starting address of our table, or starting first index of our table, this index. Okay, starting address of this table or index of this table. So next row will be next row, next row, next row, like this. So starting address of this table will be assigned to this symbol. Then again, what value we can assign to this value label? We can assign s tab plus 6 because symbol is taking 6 bytes. So then s tab plus 6 will be assigned to this value. Then what we can assign to this flag? So s tab plus 9 because previous 6 plus 3, total 9 bytes are already used by symbol and value. So next the address or value for this flags will be s tab plus 9. Are you understanding what is the use of this equate now? So now if you want to particularly fetch or access any value from any of these entries, for example, if this index is indicating 0, it is 1, it is 2 and it is 3. Suppose if you want to fetch the value which is stored in this block, it means that index is 3 here. So from the index 3 from this table, if you want to access the value, you can use this statement or instruction LDA value comma x. What it means? So x value will be 3. Suppose it means from the index 3, from the column value, you assign that value or you load that value into the register A. Like this, we can access the values from this table. Okay. So here uh, in this method of definition, in this method of definition means here whatever we are defining no by using equate. So in this method of definition, it simply defines the label. Remember here, this equate is simply defining the label symbol, the label value and the label flag. It means it is defining, means it is inserting these symbols or labels into the symbol table. Along with that, it is inserting or it is assigning some values to them. It is inserting those values also in a symbol table. That is only. So this is one method of definition. What we are defining? We are defining the labels here. So if you follow this method, so it has some limitation. It has some disadvantage. So what is that disadvantage? Here again we are not very much clear about this definition. It means that so this method of definition simply defines the label, but it does not make the structure of a table as a clear. Structure of the table it is not going to clear. It is not going to make it clear. So here it means that here simply we have assigned it as s tab, s tab plus 6, s tab plus 9. So if we look into this one, we don't get a clear idea about our table. What it is s tab plus 6, s tab plus 9. So still if we want to make it more clear, then instead of using equate, we can use the second assembler directive, that is origin, org. Okay, so to do that, we are going to define this label by using org here. See, we can accomplish the same symbol definition using org also in the following way. It means that, so first we should define or reserve the amount of memory for this s tab. This is already I have done in the previous also. The next statements are different here. The next statement is org s tab. It means it is assigning a value to the symbol indirectly. It means the starting address of the table is assigned to the symbol, that is s tab. Okay, so then after that what we are going to do is, so here clearly we are using these assembler directives resb, resw, again resb. So by using these assembler directives, it will be very much clear for us whether we are reserving bytes or we are reserving words, and if we are reserving, for which label we are reserving also will be clear for us here. Reserve byte is reserving 6 bytes for symbol reserve word is reserving 1 word for value, reserve byte is reserving 2 bytes for flags, and last what we have to do is we have to assign the next byte in your program, sorry, so the next byte of your table, because the maximum size of your table is what here, 100 bytes into 100, sorry, 11 bytes into 100 entries, that is 1100 bytes. So after 1100th byte there will be a byte which is a 101. Okay, that byte is not assigned to anybody, that byte is representing by this one, that is s tab plus 1100. That the free available byte also we are telling to the assembler this is available for us. So this last statement is very very important to tell that 1101, the next byte is available for any next statements or next tables or next any instructions. Okay, so this should be tell to clearly to the assembler so that it can make the space for next instruction. It means it will understand that, oh, the table of our table of this programmer is completed here only. Okay, so these first and last statements are very much should be clear. So this is indicating the starting address of the table and it is indicating the last byte or address of the table, and it means that it is going to tell to assembler that next byte is available for your next any other instructions. You can use it for further uses, further storage. Okay, so this last statement is also very important. So here, so what are all the things I have discussed here. Then simply if you write like this, if you write just only org with any without any value, then what happens, it simply understands that the next available memory byte. See here, the last org statement is very important here. It sets a location counter back to its previous value. It means that last statement just now I told you, it sets the location counter back to its previous value. It means that the previous value is nothing but the address of the next unassigned byte or unused byte of a memory. So that byte can be used by some other statements or some other table next statements. Okay, after that table stab, this is necessary so that any other labels on a subsequent statements which do not represent a part of stab are assigned the proper addresses. So in some assembler directives, or sorry, in some assemblers, the previous value of location counter is automatically remembered. So in very recent and advanced assemblers, no need to remember the value of location counter. No need to mention to assembler the current value of location counter. So automatically that assembler will be keep on recording the location counter values. Okay. So for such kind of strong and powerful assemblers, no need to write the STAB plus 1100 in this last line. If you just write this org, then it will automatically understand that, oh, the previous table or memory is completed here. All the memories are completed for the table. Next byte onwards, I can use the next byte for storing any next instructions or operands. So like this, the assembler will automatically understand. Okay. So but here for this both of these assembler directives, equate and origin, for both of these equate and origin assembler directives, there are some conditions are there, some restrictions are there. So what are those restrictions? First we will see what is the restriction is putted on this equate assembler directive. So here one condition I have written here, see, in this case of equate, all symbols used on right hand side. Okay, remember what I am reading here. So all symbols used on a right hand side of the statement. So that is, all terms used to specify the value of a new symbol must have been defined previously in the program. It means that whenever you are using equator, so right side whatever the variable or label you have used here in this place, if it is indicating a constant value, if it is indicating a operand, if it is indicating a expression, whatever it is, if it is a label or if it is indicating a symbol here, that symbol must have been already defined in your program earlier. Otherwise it will not fetch the value of this symbol, then it cannot assign that value to this symbol. So for example, here if you observe these two statements, alpha reserved 1. So what you are doing here, you are defining the symbol alpha here. How you are defining? You are defining it by using one assembler directive resw. Resw will reserve one word of memory for the variable or symbol or label alpha. Okay, so it means that alpha already you are familiar. You have given introduction to your assembler about this alpha. So it means already assembler knows about alpha. So then it cannot be surprised whenever it look into this alpha in next statements of the program. It means now you can assign the value of alpha in alpha, whatever the value is stored in this word, in this location, in this memory, in this variable, in this operand, in this label, whatever the value you have stored, that value you can assign to this beta. So this is a proper method of assigning the value to this any new symbol. But the same statements, if you interchange them, then it will not work out, because beta equate alpha. When assembler will look into this alpha, it will not understand what is this alpha when user or programmer has defined it. So earlier, wherever you have never ever used or you have never ever defined this alpha, so suddenly if you are assigning this value to this beta, then it will get a surprise and it will not do it. So next line you are assigning, next line you are defining that alpha, but assembler will not take it as a proper sequence of statements in your program, isn't it? So always remember the symbols must have been already defined in your program. Okay, so next is the restriction or condition what we have put on org. So here also it is also similar kind of restriction or condition. So those symbols are the symbols here. A similar restriction applies to org. All symbols used to specify the new location counter value must have been previously defined. Here also symbols must have been previously defined. For example, if you consider these statements, org alpha, suddenly you have started to use alpha here. It means you are assigning the value of org to some symbol here. Then you are using reserve byte to reserve 1 byte of memory for byte 1, then 1 byte of memory for byte 2, then 1 byte of memory for byte 3. Then again you have written here org. So here you have not written any value here. It means that this is a very powerful assembler which is remembering the previous value. That is, previous value is nothing but the address of next byte which is unassigned. Okay, so the even though you write this one here, already you used this alpha label here, but which is not introduced, or which is not known to assembler. So then assembler will get surprised. So after these 4 or 5 statements, if you define alpha, then it is useless. Okay, so you should have define this alpha before this org statement here in the top of these all statements. So then only assembler will not get a surprise what is this alpha and all those things. It will be very much familiar with already alpha, then it will easily assign the value of alpha to this any symbol here. Okay, then these also 1 byte will be reserved for byte 1, byte 2, byte 3. So otherwise what happens, even byte 1, byte 2, byte 3 will not get any addresses, because since alpha does not know which address it is, which location it is, so then these byte 1, byte 2, byte 3 will also not get any addresses. The complete code will be wrong. So small change in a program will make a lot of errors here. Okay, so be very careful when you use this type of equate and origin assembler directives. One more example I want to tell you. So if you write the code by using these 3 lines like this, alpha equate beta. Okay, so beta equate delta, and delta reserved 1. What you are doing in first two statements in two assembler directives, equate, first 2 lines are assigning a value to alpha. Which value? Beta value. But assembler does not know what is this beta, because beta you have not defined anywhere in these 3 lines. Next line also will be not executed, because beta equate delta. What it means? You are assigning a delta value to beta. and you have not defined delta earlier, but you have defined it later here. So this is not a proper way of writing the code. So first you should write delta definition, that is delta reserve word 1, then you should write beta also, then you can write alpha equate beta, beta equate delta, whatever the value, whatever the statements you want, you can write like this. Okay, so these three statements also cannot be resolved by any ordinary two pass assembler. Okay, these are the restrictions or conditions what we have put on origin and equate. So these are all things you should take care when you write the equate and origin assembler directives. So total I think some around 9 assembler directives we have studied: start, end, reserve byte, byte, reserve word, word, and base, no base, and previous class I discussed that is a literal org, lt org, and today I have discussed equ, equate, and org, origin. Okay, next I am going to next topic, that is a expressions. See, I already told you in equate and origin, whenever you are assigning a value to any symbol, that value may be either constant value or it may be any expression. So how exactly that expression look like? These all things we are going to see now. See, so these expressions are nothing but your arithmetic expressions. So any other logical expressions you have studied in your C program and other any programming language. Similarly, here also we are going to use some expressions. So if these expressions contains some operators like plus, minus, star, and division, then it is a arithmetic expression. Okay, so similarly, along with these operators, definitely we will use some operands in our expressions, right? So these operands are nothing but here we call them as a terms. Okay, and these terms will be either constant values. Okay, it means either constants, or else these terms will be any symbols. Okay, so those terms may be any constants or any symbols here. So just remember, whenever in our instructions in our program which are using the single terms, for example, single terms like labels, for example, STL return address is one label. Okay, then in the previous section already you know the literals: equal mark CEOF, that is a literal; equal mark capital X 05, that is a hexadecimal constant, that is also literal. So literals will be prefixed with the literals are prefixed with the assignment operator. So this type of single terms whatever we have used in the place of operands of our instruction, so those terms, single terms, now onwards we can write them as a expression. It means we can call them as a expression. So wherever such a single operand is permitted, each such expression must of course be evaluated by the assembler to produce a single operand address. It means that when we evaluate, when we solve these expressions, in your C program also you have evaluated a lengthy expressions and you have got a final one single digit answer there. So if we evaluate, if we solve those expressions, so then we will get a single operand address or a single value. So who will evaluate, who will solve these expressions? Definitely assembler will solve these expressions. Okay, so in the next class we will see how to evaluate these expressions and exactly how to write the expressions. I will tell you in the next class. And in today's class I just want to tell you one more last thing that already I told you. So whenever you look into this star, what it is indicating, I already told you, it is indicating current value of a location counter. Current value of location counter. Star is nothing but it is a present value of a location counter. Okay, see, individual terms in any expressions may be constants, or they may be user defined symbols, or any special terms. The most common special term is a current value of a location counter. Remember, special value, special term means what it is? It is a location counter. So location counter, current value of location counter, now onwards it is indicated as a, that value is indicated as a star. So location counter is nothing but your location column of your program. If you observe, you will get that location column. So that location column will be completely containing the list of addresses. Those values, those all are representing addresses, right? So star is also representing address. Which address? Address of any instruction, okay, present instruction. That is a current value of location counter is indicated by this star, okay. So in this term represents, this term is nothing but this star. This star is representing a value of next byte which is unassigned. So next unassigned memory location, if you want to represent, then it is nothing but a location counter, present value of location counter. So in next class I tell you this expressions in detail, okay. So have a nice day. In the next class we will meet again, okay. You can leave the meeting now.